At OhMiBod, innovation meets self-care, helping adults of all ages reclaim confidence, curiosity, and connection. Explore their collection at ohmibod.com. That's OhMiBod.com. Hi, I'm Suzanne, and welcome to Sex Advice for Seniors. How many of you have gone on a dating app or a dating site and thought, holy shit, why are these profiles so absolutely dreadful, so badly written? Why can't men take a better picture of themselves? Why are there so many fake people here? Why is this such a nightmare? Why is it so difficult to navigate? And if any of those questions have run through your mind, then you're going to love this conversation with Eric Resnick, who's the founder and lead profile advisor at profilehelper.com, bringing over 20 years of experience helping people find love online. And you thought it can be done. With a background in PR and crisis management, he made the leap into online dating back in 2000, which was exactly when I started online dating. So we can have a lot to chat about there, long before swiping was even a thing. And he's since worked with, believe it or not, over 40,000 individual daters, as well as consulting for some of the major dating platforms. And obviously, he's got loads of perspective on this. We can talk about how the industry has changed, but today we're really going to dig into what's really going on behind the scenes of dating apps, why so many people, including myself, occasionally feel disillusioned, and most importantly, what actually works if you want to create genuine, meaningful connection in today's digital world. Eric, welcome to Sex Advice for Seniors.
Hey, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So listen, you've been doing this, like me, since 2000. What did it look like back then? And what do you think has changed the most in your view?
If you go back to 2000, it was Match.com, Yahoo Singles, and Perfect Match. The only thing people will ever remember Perfect Match for now is all of the money they spent to be the dating site mentioned in the John Cusack, Diane Lane movie, Must Love Dogs. Eventually, Match bought Yahoo Dating. And the industry exploded. eHarmony started coming on there. A guy in Vancouver was trying to win a Fields Medal, and he built a dating site to test the algorithm that he was trying to win this mathematical medal for, and that's how we got Plenty of Fish.
Oh, interesting. I was going to ask about Plenty of Fish. Yeah,
which is now also owned by Match. And then we got eHarmony, which was sort of the first big unofficially Christian type dating site, but it was absolutely Christian when it was started by the Reverend Neil Clark Warren. And then we got Christian Mingle and JDate and started to expand. And then about 12, 15 years ago, there was a big schism, I think partially brought on by sites like OkCupid, which was one of the most interesting dating sites in the dating market. And it was drawing a younger, more interesting, a little more alternative crowd. But people were also starting to get a little tired with the work involved with online dating. And that's when Tinder happened. And Tinder came out with a product that pretty much you could go from download to swiping within 90 seconds. You didn't have to write a profile. You could just post a couple of photos. If you swiped right and someone else swiped right on you, you had a match. If you swiped left, you never saw the other person again. And that was the beginning of a very toxic trend in online dating, honestly, which has gone to include Tinder and Bumble, each of which are the two largest dating sites with, I think between the two of them, one has 55 or 60 million people a day. One has 75 million people. And that's because they're so easy to use, but they're there because they're video games. So we've entered into this sort of new era of online dating where there's different types of online daters. There's different reasons to use different dating apps. There's different dating apps for almost anything you could imagine, from farmers to Disney fans to people who want to hook up in the next 90 minutes. But it's diluted the market. It's made it a little harder to find your place. And it's made it a lot more frustrating. But the biggest thing I think that's hurting people right now is the growth of those swipe apps, specifically Tinder and Bumble. I refer to them as the dopamine slot machine because they train people to focus on getting matches, not to focus on who they're matching with. And this is a problem that really started exploding during the pandemic because for 2 years, everyone was isolated. We were at home. We were maybe trapped with partners that weren't giving us the validation we wanted, or we were just isolated. And you could go onto an app, and especially as a female on those dating apps, because men tend to swipe right 70% of the time and women swipe right around 4% of the time, that most women could go on and immediately start getting validation in the form of the dopamine hit that is, it's a match popping up on their screen. It trained people to focus, as I said before, on getting matches as opposed to who they're matching with. And then because those two apps are the two biggest in the market, they've really driven the sentiment towards the industry down. But I mean, look, I can show you the ring right here. Online dating does work. I've been with my wife for 13 years. We've been married for 8. I met her on a little dating app that doesn't exist anymore. Honestly, that I wasn't even using. I was just checking out to see if it was worth reviewing for my clients. It was Geek to Geek, which is why her wedding ring is shaped like Darth Vader's lightsaber.
Look, there's somebody for everybody.
And that's why I tell my clients, if there was someone for me, then there's definitely someone for you.
I started on a site back in 2000 called nerve.com, which I think was bought by OkCupid.
Oh, I remember Nerve, yeah.
And it had a very quirky little questionnaire that I really liked, which was kind of slightly alternative. And it was geared towards people who I suppose could be classed as kind of quite urban, city dwellers. It was very New York, LA kind of thing. The thing I loved about it back then was, of course, we were on dial-up. I didn't even see people's pictures. I didn't even care, really. I was just so excited about this kind of brave new world where you could just meet people randomly on this new thing called the internet. And I suppose for me, what's now changed, I mean, I tend to go on the more alternative sites like Field and sometimes, for casual connections and things. And
have you tried Pure?
No, but people have been talking to me about Pure, actually.
Pure is literally the dating site for people who are looking to hook up in the next 90 minutes.
Yeah. So I've been speaking to a few people who have been on Pure, but I haven't tried it myself yet. But the stat you just said about the 70% of men swipe right and the 4% of women swipe right is evident to me as soon as you go on any hookup sites, because honestly, I go on and off them within 24 hours because
it's overwhelming.
It's so overwhelming. And even as an older woman where I thought that my chances of anything were going to be relatively slim.
Oh, no.
I'm inundated, like literally inundated with guys to the point where I have to go, okay, that's enough. I think there's a few people here that look interesting enough might want to meet. And then I just shut it down. I just move on. So I do know that, when it comes to men, especially on casual sex sites, they can't stop themselves.
One of the most important features on dating apps for a woman is incognito mode. If you're on an app that doesn't have an incognito mode, it's going to become overwhelming. And the problem is, it's not even overwhelming with quality, because the guys are so mission oriented that they're just grinding through the numbers, trying to get some traction. And then the guys are complaining to me, well, I'm not getting any responses. Well, it's because you're sending out crap. You're presenting crap, you're sending out crap. And the women are complaining to me, is I'm drowning in crap.
That's right.
So I've got half of the dating pool is dying of thirst and the other half is drowning.
Yeah. You work with 40,000 people. And, the most common mistakes that you see, as you acknowledge, are men, I suspect, just not really taking the time over creating an attractive and interesting profile. They're just so mission driven.
Not just men. Men and women both universally kind of suck at writing profiles. The difference with men is men get too salesy. Men feel like it's me versus all the other guys to get to you. And so what they write is something that's trying to convince you to give them a chance. Whether you're looking for like the love of your life or just a hookup, do you want that hookup, or do you want to feel like you were talked into that hookup? Like, oh, that's so sexy. He wore me down. Ew.
Yeah. Aside from the written side of it, which is a shit show in itself, I mean, always amazed that people are completely unaware of spell check, Grammarly, or any of the other tools that are available.
Oh, yeah.
AI, for that matter, ChatGPT, just like stick some words in that have meaning for you and just get somebody else to do it for you, right?
I asked ChatGPT because I've had a lot, we've seen a lot of impact on what we do because people are like, oh, why should I pay someone if I can just have AI write it for me? And the reason is because it sucks. I actually went to ChatGPT. There's a whole blog post on my site of me asking ChatGPT why it's bad at writing dating profiles. And it gave me an answer, and I've got screen captures up there. But basically, what it comes down to is AI aims for the middle. AI is going to write something that's acceptable to the largest possible population. When in reality, if you're acceptable to everyone, you're not special to anyone. And regardless of whether you're looking for, marriage or relationship or dating or just to like find someone to have sex with this afternoon, you're not looking to be the most acceptable person for everyone to maybe consider wanting to have sex with you this afternoon or to marry. You're looking for the person who's like, oh, that one. You're looking to connect. You're not looking to be white bread on mayo, or mayo on white bread, rather. And so you get something that's highly superficial, very list driven. Even when there's details, there are details without context. Congratulations. I'm really happy you like live music. Classical, jazz, punk, guar. Like, what are you listening to? Because those are very different instances. And that means something to people. And so a lot of people come to me either for a free assessment of their profile, because I offer that to everyone. And I will immediately call them out. I'm like, you just had me assess a profile that you didn't write. AI wrote it. And the funny thing is sometimes like, I didn't write it. I didn't have AI write it. I paid someone to write it. So there's people out there doing this work who are just using AI. And that's something we do not do, by the way. We will never use AI. Human things for human people. You can't do that because it comes off superficial. It tastes plasticky.
If you're new to sex toys, it can feel a bit overwhelming, like you've expected to know what everything does. GITM Playbook is built specifically for that moment. They guide you using external to internal logic, starting simple with external toys and letting you progress at your own pace. Everything's made from body-safe materials, and the categories are loud, clear, and genuinely helpful. It's not about throwing options at you, it's about helping you choose with confidence. Head to GITMPlaybook.com to get started. I'm curious though, because obviously from my point of view, right, as a woman, mainly heterosexual woman, mostly what I see is men's profiles, right? So I don't see what you see if you go on and look at women. And I'm always curious to know, because I see these men and obviously I see the issues around the men's profiles, a lot of which you've acknowledged, this kind of very salesy approach or just this lack of care and attention over actually what they want and what they're looking for and what they desire, which is reflected in this very bland, completely homogenous, uninteresting profile. From the female side, my suspicion is that women have too many tick boxes, but I don't know. This is just my suspicion.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
There's a list of problems. The first one is lack of effort. And the reason for the lack of effort is because the guys are trying too hard. If 70% of the people that I swipe on are going to be matches for me, regardless, how much effort do I really need to put into my profile? I'll just sort through my matches and see what's best.
And that's from the women's side.
Yeah, that's on the women's side. I see more women on dating apps where you don't have to write text that have not written any text, or where they're just giving you a list of a few activities. What you'll also see more on the female side is more negativity. More of what I don't want. I was just reviewing a profile for a woman.
I put my hand up for that one.
There's a problem with that, because when you tell people what you don't want, basically you're saying, here's the problems I've had with previous connections, and I'm not ready to move past that because I'm still hung up on it. So the healthy guys, the guys that you actually enjoy being around, see that as a red flag. And the dirtbags see you as an easy mark. So your past doesn't belong in your profile. It's your relationship past. You should never ask for something in your profile that's a basic fundamental of a healthy relationship or of just being a decent human. If you're asking for loyalty or honesty in your profile, you're just saying, I was cheated on, I was lied to, even if you weren't.
Oh, no, I don't do that. Mine are all physical characteristics that I just don't like bad teeth, beer bellies. Like, I just can't deal with them. That's it.
But it doesn't stop them.
Well, I don't know about that.
I have a friend who is a white woman who only is interested in dating black men. And she had a profile that started with, I only date black men. If you're not a black man, do not message me. I advised her, this is an awful profile. She's still getting enough attention from it that she felt like we can sort through it.
It's doing the work, yeah.
More than half of her messages that she gets are from white guys. White guys saying, well, maybe you just haven't met the right white guy yet. Or in some cases, guys who get real aggressive and call her things like a race traitor or stuff, or worse. So she's ending up getting a lot of annoyance and a lot of abuse. At the end of the day, here's the thing. Unless you're dealing with a mutually reliant app like a Tinder or Bumble, which I'm not going to advise anyway, your success as a man or a woman, 99% of the time is going to come down to who you choose, not who chooses you. Because nobody on a dating app is going on there to make you happy. No one is looking at your app. You look at your profile and say, oh my God, I could make her so happy. No. They see you and they say, ooh, me want. And men do this and women do this. We both do it. Because if we don't want, there's a potentially better option one swipe away. So we're trained to sort of commoditize people. And that has led to some of the fatigue that we're having. I mean, I think this is especially for females over 50. The majority of females over 50 that I deal with are still largely uncomfortable with being proactive. Because for generations, women have been trained to be pursued, that it's desperate or too thirsty, for the woman to go out there after the guy. I will tell you, as a man, if an intelligent, attractive woman were to approach a man who is interested in meeting an attractive, intelligent woman, and he's put off by the fact that she said hello first, it's a bullet dodged, not an opportunity lost. That's a fragile ego that you don't want to be anywhere near when that shatters.
Good point. And look, surely one of the aspects of dating apps, which I've long been aware of, is it's to their benefit to keep you coming back, right?
Yes.
Because they want you to keep paying your subscription fee.
Well, you're the product.
It doesn't benefit them for you to actually be successful. So how much of the algorithm is actually about you not being successful?
The last time I heard a statistic on cost versus acquisition, the marketing costs to get one new member on a dating site equals around a 3-month paid membership. Dating apps, especially if you're looking at the swipe apps where you don't have a search function, you have a lot more control when there's a search function in play. But dating apps where there's a search function, they generally work on daily visibility rankings, meaning for every consecutive day that you don't log in, your visibility is going to drop a tier until after, depending on the app, between 2 to 4 weeks, you become invisible. But if it's a 2-week to invisibility dating app like Hinge, and you don't log in for 13 days, you're not quite invisible, you're almost invisible. The largest reason they do that, honestly, in their defense, will be if they're trying to show people to each other, they don't want to waste their time showing them someone who has a lower statistical chance of coming back. And the longer you go without logging in, the less chance you're going to come back. But if it's midnight on the end of day 13 and you log in, you're back to tier 1. You don't have to do 13 days to build yourself back up. It's literally just, what have you done in the last 24 hours? Some dating apps will penalize you for swiping too fast or swiping yes too often. Some dating apps, theoretically, although it's all proprietary, so you can't really find this stuff out and there'd be too many lawsuits. Some apps allegedly rank people's visibility by how popular they are. Again, all the more reason to not focus on dating apps where you have no control, where you're swiping on a mutually reliant system. That's why at least Hinge, If you see someone you like, you can reach out to them immediately. You don't have to wait to be swiped back on. Same thing with like Facebook dating, whereas then you got things like Match and eHarmony and Plenty of Fish where there's still message based. So the algorithms that are there, think of it more as LaCroix. It's a Canadian seltzer water product that is so lightly flavored that it feels like maybe they walked a piece of fruit past the room that the seltzer was in. So when you're dealing with these dating site algorithms, that faint fruit flavor in the background is your preferences. The big bubbles you're feeling are the monetization and user engagement algorithms. And that's why Hinge, which happens to be pretty much my favorite app overall right now, they have a free version and a paid version. If you're a free member, you can like and reach out to 5 people a day. If you're a paid member, you can like out to an unlimited number of people. If you are liking more than 5 people a day on a dating app, you have been on the dating app too long today. It's time to go outside, get some fresh air, pet a puppy, maybe have some ice cream, do something to make you happy. But the longer you spend on the dating app, you're not paying nearly as close attention to profile 25 as you did to profile number 3 that you looked at. So it's a diminished return for you. These dating apps will sell you on the idea of this fear of missing out. Oh, the perfect person for you could be one message away, or boost your profile so you're seen, or, oh, there's a mutual reliant matching algorithm. You can buy a rose to get past it. No, I've never met a woman who said, I wasn't going to talk to that guy, but he sent me a picture of a flower that he paid 99 cents for. And so that's what turned the tide. No. So the algorithms are there theoretically to help you. They're starting to get a little scary. The CEO of Bumble was just giving a speech the other day I was reading about, where she talked about how they're going to be employing AI so that your profile will have an AI avatar and someone else's profile will have an AI avatar. And basically they'll set up matching so the avatars talk to each other first to determine compatibility before you're introduced. And that's the most dystopian version of this that I've heard so far. It scares me.
Oh my God.
Because it removes the humanity from romance, which is the most human thing you can do. I'm a big proponent of online dating. It's not just because it's how I make my living and because it's how I met my wife. I see the benefit of it for people. I've always sort of considered society to have been on a bit of a downturn since the introduction of the Sony Walkman. The Sony Walkman was the first time that people could walk around in a bubble of their own technology, isolated from the public, but still in public. Then we get to the CD Walkmans, the MP3 players, now smartphones and noise-canceling headphones. We have learned to isolate ourselves amongst each other. We've also become more tribal because of social media. We've also got a really skewed concept of what everyone deserves or what is success based on the curated realities of social media. And all of that makes it harder and harder to connect people. And if you're feeding that stuff into AI, and then you're trusting the AI to connect you, it's just going to connect you with other people who are similarly on messed up paths. There's no opportunity to say, okay, there's something unique about this person. I'm a big Star Wars fan. My wife's dating profile had a line about her having a big collection of Star Wars stuff. So I knew not only did I think she was attractive, but I liked her general vibe. And one of the most important things you need when you're looking to whether you're going to reach out to someone on a dating app is there was actually something, not that I just could talk to her about, but that I'd want to talk to her about. It's not about sending a, hey, what's up? Or I like your profile or some salesy garbage or some clever line you saw on Reddit. It's about making the person feel seen and heard and not targeted. And building a connection, starting a conversation.
Yeah. And I think that's another really, really valid and really important point that I hear from a lot of women is that the introduction, that first contact is the most minimal amount of effort, right? It's just, It's just like a, hey, or you look hot. Oh, you're so hot, or something just so innocuous, random, uninteresting.
Copy and pasteable.
Totally. And I think, all women want to, everybody, not just women, everyone wants to feel special, right? Everyone wants to feel that you've put in some kind of effort. And that means you've read the profile, you've gone, I love my coffee black as well. Anytime anyone asks if I want sugar, I'm like, no, I hate sugar in my coffee. I won't go near sugar. Or I don't know about you, but I drink 4 cups a day. Like I remember a guy that I did actually meet on Tinder, and I was with him for several years. And he really spent time on his profile. It was clear, like his picture was super quirky. His profile, I've still got his profile. Sadly, he died, but I've still got his profile on my phone because I loved him to bits. And it said like, I put the toilet seat down. I drink far too much coffee. I'm a very arty kind of guy. My favorite weekend is like going and checking out different galleries. And I've returned back to being a visual artist. And it was such an appealing profile because it just showed me this kind of quirky, pretty funny, interesting guy. And he was all of that. He was all of that, and my kids said, I can't believe you met this guy on Tinder. And he wasn't like the hottest guy in the world. He was a 60 some odd year old guy, but it was just something about that whole profile from both our ends that appealed to both of us. And it is why we stayed together for so long. And in fact, one of my questions was going to be about the importance of authenticity and what does a truly authentic dating profile look like in practice? And for me, my partner's profile was a really authentic.
It's a window.
It was awesome.
A good, authentic profile is a window into somebody's world, not a sales pitch as to why you should give them a chance. It's not something that is self-aggrandizing. It's not something that is mired in lists of details and activities. It's something that gives people a sense of who you are. It creates the opportunities for conversation.
Absolutely.
All relationships, whether, you're talking about business or friends or flings or marriages, they're all conversations. And the strength of those relationships depends on how well that conversation is nurtured. And if your profile shows you as the kind of person who can be that next conversation for them, as opposed to just an ad you're reading and observing, you've got a much better shot of connecting. Because when you read someone's profile, so your guy, he talked about going out to art galleries, whereas half the people would just stop at, I love going out on the weekends. Okay, for what? Like horse races or protests or movies? What are we doing? And he talked about his visual art. I'm going to hope that he probably got at least one photo where he was with some of his art to give you a sense of what.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and by the way, if you're an artist and you want to show some of your art, you still have to be in the picture. Otherwise, it's just a random picture and it's not going to mean anything. You have to be in every photo you post. An authentic profile is not a profile that tries. It's just a profile that is. These are the things that I'm passionate about. These are the things that make me happy. These are the things that I'll fight for, depending on the type of person you are. These are the things that I see as a good partner for me, not my wish list or my F off list, And that's an authentic profile.
The reason why people hire people like you and why I'm always attracted to people who are creatives is because generally speaking, they are people for whom I can gain some insight when I look at their profile, and they're not just this kind of bland set of random wants or needs or some shit that went on in their past that they don't want to bring into their future or whatever it happens to be, right? One of the things that people always say when they read anything that I write is, I get a real sense of who you are. And the surprising thing as well that I think is that I never post nude pictures of myself on hookup apps when everyone else is posting nudies, right?
Oh, you should never post naked photos on the apps.
No, but on a lot of these hookup apps, the only thing you see is a male, down there.
Because they want to see your boobs. No, here's the thing. Guys want to see your boobs. And they assume that if I want to see her boobs, she probably wants to see my junk. And I have had to explain to hundreds of men, they don't want to see your junk. If they do, they will ask. And even still, you should say, in person only.
Or if you're going to send me your junk, ask first. Can I send you my junk? And then you go, not right now. Thank you very much. I don't really want to.
Don't ask. It's not even a question you should have to ask. Because, again, it goes back to that whole sales thing. Guys have all different sizes and girths and shapes of penises. What I've found from most women aren't size queens. Most women aren't like, oh, it's got to, maybe they're like circumcised, uncircumcised, whatever. But that's a written question, not a here's the visual proof. But like, maybe this is a very skewed heterosexual male perspective here. There are very few things uglier than a penis.
I always just say, is there a face to go along with that? Because a penis on its own is not that attractive generally. And also, if you've seen a lot of them, you know that the camera angle really does.
Exactly. It's like holding up a fish really close to the camera to make it look like you caught the big one. On one side, a dick pic without a face has no value. But on the other side, a dick pic with a face is just a blackmail risk.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous. But unfortunately, I have to go to the theater because otherwise I'd talk with you for the next hour because I could talk about this subject endlessly because I've actually written 2 books about my dating adventures. So people know that I have a very strong interest in this topic and a lot of experience. But the bottom line is that spending time on your profile, whether it's hiring a professional like yourself to get some support or whether it's actually just really thinking about specifically what you're looking for and specifically what about you is going to be interesting to people without resorting to generalizations is going to make your profile stand out, as well as good pictures that either are taken professionally or are taken in good lighting where you actually look.
We could do a whole other podcast on the photos.
Well, we might, you know what, Eric, we might end up doing that because this was way too short. But I think we'll save that for another one. We might book that one straight in after this. But the bottom line is it doesn't really matter whether you're over 50, 18, 25, 35, 45. We're all hoping that these apps are going to deliver us someone with whom we're compatible, whether it's a quickie, a long-term, a short-term relationship, whatever it happens to be. And the more clear you can be about what you're looking for in a way that truly reflects your character, the more likely it is that you're going to be successful. And clearly you've been successful. I've also been very successful. So I know that going in with a positive attitude also counts for a huge amount. And knowing, it will take time, does take energy, but there's somebody out there for everyone. Eric, it's been such a pleasure, and I'm definitely going to get you back again. We're going to just talk about photographs.
We can do a whole series of things on all the different problems people are having with online dating if you want.
Well, we might do that. We might do a whole series. Sounds like a good idea. Anyway, thanks for coming on the show, and have a great day.
Absolutely no pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Fancy a deep dive after this episode? Pop over to sexadviceforseniors.com, the spot for stories, advice, and I can guarantee a good laugh or two, and maybe discover something new about yourself at sexadviceforseniors.com.